Anyone who's been following this election for the last year and a half, we can all pretty much agree on one thing, and that is that this election has been almost completely devoid of issues. We're not hearing policy talk from Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. We're hearing attacks on one another. We're hearing buzzwords. We're hearing catchphrases. We're hearing a lot about things that we have to be afraid of. But according to more than 20 of the top risk analysts in the world, we actually shouldn't be afraid of those things that both Hillary and Donald Trump are telling us to be afraid of. The Associated Press spoke with more than 20 risk analysts to decide whether or not the presidential candidates are actually talking about real threats to the United States. And as it turns out, no, they're not. According to these risk analysts, the number one threat to the United States is climate change. You get the same answer from the CIA and the Department of Defense too. Climate change is the number one threat. Donald Trump thinks it's a hoax. Hillary Clinton mentions climate change in passing every now and then. But there's been no real discussion about how to move this country forward in addressing climate change, according to these risk analysts. They're also not talking about issues of cybersecurity, technological advancements in the United States that, while they are great, are going to displace a lot of workers and only make inequality greater in the United States. That's another point that they're not talking about, according to these analysts. They're not talking about pandemics, and they're vaguely and incorrectly talking about nuclear weapons, according to the analysts. But back to the issue of climate change. There have been more climate and severe weather-related deaths in the United States since September 10th, 2001, than there have been deaths due to terrorism, and that includes the attacks on 9/11. Over 8,000 people have died in the United States due to extreme weather events in the last 15 years. Meanwhile, less than 4,000 have died from terrorism on U.S. soil. So which one's the greater threat? Anybody who understands what number is bigger than the other one would answer climate change. And yet here we have two presidential candidates telling us that we got to be afraid of ISIS. We got to be afraid of Al-Qaeda. We got to be afraid of Muslims because they're going to come and kill us. We got to be afraid of immigrants because they're going to come and kill us. No, you know what's going to kill us? All these damn oil pipelines, all the oil drilling, all those emissions coming out of coal-fired power plants and from the back of our SUVs. That's what's killing us. Look at the numbers. There is no dispute. Climate change is deadlier than terrorism by more than double. Yet nobody's talking about it. That's a shame. It's a shame that we have hit this point in American politics when both the Democrat and Republican are playing off our fears. Irrational fears. Fears that will almost never come to fruition. And it's not because of what Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton do as president. It's because it's just that unlikely. And the corporate media bears a little bit of this blame because ABC, NBC, and CBS have devoted a grand total combined of 32 minutes to talk about issues during this last year. 32 minutes combined. Most of that, 17 minutes, was on terrorism. 7 minutes was on foreign policy. So that remaining 8 minutes is what they spent combined on climate change, healthcare, immigration, and everything else that should be important to American voters. The media is to blame. The politicians are to blame. But when you look at the numbers, there is no other way to say it. Climate change is deadlier and a bigger threat to the way of life in America than terrorism.